And he did not seem interested in that. So I hope he remembers that he had his chance to be able to resolve this. How many of you all saw what happened last night? Because if you didn't see it, you guys may not be aware of why I'm kind of pissed off. You did, Willow, Lorraine. Okay, in your best possible words, Hasselblad was claiming the photo was a big deal, right? Let's be super clear. The photo has only been used for 2 weeks, so he's a liar. That's not what his issue was. Um, I had said that he was. Does everyone remember that my central claim was that he was going around casting aspersions on my evidence, defending some of the guys that I was calling out, and that he'd called me a liar? I'll say it again. I had said during yesterday's live that my problem with Hasselblad was that he was defending some of the guys, that he had called me a liar, said I was untrustworthy, and had cast dispersions on the evidence. And I thought that's fair for me to be upset with him about that. And let me be clear, I didn't do anything. I had heard he was doing it. And in fact, if you give me 1 second, I can read a message I sent to him immediately. Give me 1 second. Hang on. So when I first caught him doing it, okay, when I first caught him doing it, I messaged out a couple of times and he ignored all my messages. And my first message was, if you have an issue or question regarding the evidence I have presented, R.E. Peterson or Blitz, perhaps reach out to me directly. Otherwise, if you're going to publicly comment on how I do things, explain to me how it's not appropriate for me to publicly comment on your inaction as it pertains to Peterson and to a lesser extent Blitz. Moreover, don't mischaracterize what happened with your other Glober friend. He joined the live angry and irate, so don't try to rewrite history on that. So, I don't know if it's obsessive compulsive disorder. I don't know, if I've just developed traits I'm not aware of, or if I am just that spiteful. But last night, after pulling an all nighter the night before, I decided to really try to figure out, is there any receipts that support what I said? Because again, I said Hasselblad was sort of casting aspersions on the evidence, that Hasselblad had defended, no, tough, I don't, that Hasselblad had defended some of the bad guys, and that Hasselblad had called me a liar. Do you remember last night he explicitly said, I've never said you were untrustworthy. I never defended anyone. And I only talked about the tactics. Does everyone remember that? Because I don't know if you remember, but I said to him, if that's the case, I literally said, I'm sorry. He gaslit me in that live into thinking I was wrong. And that doesn't really happen a lot. But everyone kept telling me Hasselblad is good, Hasselblad is good, Hasselblad is good. So I was like, all right, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on at all times, and Hasselblad has been like nobody. And then he did say, you don't care about the truth. But he said then he didn't say it. And I would argue, everyone can tone police how I react. I think it's a joke how over on Vogue's Live, a lot of people were saying that I was too emotional. And it was like, have you noticed your man bitch friend? Like how Hassel bitch has been whining and screaming the entire time? Like, is this a joke right now? So the central dispute between him and I is he's upset that I started to call him sus. And I called him sus because I knew he was going around saying the evidence isn't right there. He was defending Blitz and that he had been calling me untrustworthy and saying that the evidence shouldn't be trusted or that I shouldn't be trusted. And yes, that makes you sus. Now, that could just make you one of the boys club. That one of your boys is being attacked, so you jump to defend your boy, right? It could just simply be that. I recognize that. But I thought it made him sus given the fact that I had reached out to him multiple times to try to talk to him in order to try to get him to understand that, what's your problem with the evidence? I'll happily correct anything. Why are you saying this shit about me? Stop saying this shit about me. And now looking back at this, Hasselbad is a hassle bitch because throughout all of this, I've actually gone out of my way to try to resolve this with him, and he's completely avoided me. So I actually don't care about this dude. And to the extent any apology was extended yesterday, he can fucking suck it. Like, he's not getting that apology. He can take that back. So, hey, Wasabi. So, again, my problems was that he was misrepresenting the evidence or casting aspersions on the evidence. The other problem I said was that he was defending Blitz, and my other problem was that he was making me sound untrustworthy, and he said none of that happened. Well, like a sociopath, last night I spent time finding any evidence that did indeed happen. And I already have some. So we're going to start off light, but I've compiled a 4-minute video. And in this video, and just to be super clear, this has nothing to do with Haley, so don't do anything with regard to Haley. It was just on her live. In this video, we're going to see Hasselbad lie about the context R.E. Glober's incident. If you all remember, I didn't know who Average Glober was. I didn't have a clue who Average Glober was, right? And I was doing a live on Peterson, and he came to me during that live on Peterson. What's up, Atlantic? And he came to me in that live about Peterson, and he was in the comments casting aspersions. And then I said, that's sus that you're doing that. You're likely doing something or afraid of being called out for doing something that Peterson has done. And he joined the live. And when he joined the live, you guys or someone was in the server that he was in and showed that he did have a minor in the server who had been threatened. Let me show you how Hasselbad describes what happened.
So whether he went after Average Glober because Tyler had Maria, like well over a year ago, started a Discord.
First of all, I love how he starts saying he went after Glober because of a Discord. That's not what happened. I was simply doing my live. He came into me, was casting aspersions, and I said, I bet that you are in here defending this guy because you've done things like him. I didn't go after him. He went after me. The idea that these guys keep pitting themselves as the victim is wild to me.
He went after Average Glober because Tyler had Maria, like well over a year ago, started a Discord, and she was hoping to host debates on Discord. So she made a bunch of us moderators. Like at one point I was a moderator, although I haven't been in that Discord in over a year.
I think I'm still in that server, if it's the right one I'm thinking of.
So the only thing that Discord gets used for is people playing video games with each other. They'll play a game where you can't necessarily talk to everyone, or they'll play a game and other people will watch and they'll just have a conversation while they're in there. Or from time to time, Tyler, who's a big UFC fan, would broadcast the UFC fights on there.
So it was the Discord server. Remember Tyler kept saying it wasn't the Discord server? So we were right. It was the Discord server.
And allow anyone who wasn't able to watch it to watch it. Irish was claiming that there was minors in there.
No. Tyler is the guy, Average Glober. The guy who came up to defend Peterson and started shouting when I said, your reason for defending Peterson is you likely did something similar to what Peterson did. And while he was on my live, we discovered he had minors in his server. We didn't go looking for minors.
Irish was claiming that there was minors in there, and so he roped Average Glober into it. And since Blitz and Average Glober were friends with Peterson, he
Notice that. He just said I went after Tyler because he was friends with these people. No, it was because he was defending these people and suggesting that what I was saying was untrue.
got his group to go after them. I go back and forth because
Nobody went after Glober. Someone found his Discord and found that there were minors in there. That's not going after someone.
there's definite evidence of
Inappropriate stuff.
there's evidence of inappropriate.
Okay, so now this is him talking about the screenshots, of Peterson. And you tell me if this is not suggesting stuff is not as it's meant to be. Oh, hang on. I'm being told I should flip back to this live. I've already got my account in there.
People saying, did he really say the T word? And I was like, wait, are you saying he said TRANNY?
Okay, not with me. Great. So I want to be super clear. This screenshot here, this video here, this is him talking about the screenshots. Hey, Barbs. This is him talking about the screenshots, R.E. Peterson. And you tell me whether or not he's casting aspersions on the accuracy.
After them. I go back and forth because there's definite evidence of
Inappropriate stuff.
there's evidence of inappropriate stuff. There's also evidence of the entirety of it not being as solid as he's making it, and he's taking screenshots from days apart and then putting them side by side at the very least.
Okay, is that him not suggesting that I am inappropriately representing the evidence to suggest something that isn't there?
The entirety of it not being as solid as he's making it, and he's taking screenshots from
that is not
days
an approach
apart
on tactics.
and then putting them side by side at the very least. He had
Now, ready for this one?
He has he has flat out lied about some people that.
Oh, what was that? What was that? Hassle, bitch.
And then putting them side by side at the very least. He has he has flat out lied about some people that. I'm not going to go into that, but
weird, real weird. Real fucking weird, Hassle bitch. And the fact that anyone is over there saying, we love our Hasselblatt. What you like is a man who appears to be calm. And what you saw out of this guy is that when you call him out, he becomes a little bitch. That's what you saw. I'm loud, I'm brass, I'm crass, I'm all those fucking things. But I'm not a liar. This guy lied.
And then putting them side by side at the very least. He has he has flat out lied about some people that I'm not going to go into that, but he's claimed that he.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I so wish he had been allowed to continue there. I so wish he'd been allowed to continue.
I was going to say, the problem I see is that I think because Irish is he does, if he does something, he's going to follow through with it and he's going to go until, and I think Peterson's kind of the same. And I think that it's kind of like two guys that really don't like each other are going to see this through. And it's just, oh my God, I don't really like Peterson anyway, so I don't really care. but and I've seen some of the receipts, and I'm like, oh, that is really
Blitz?
really
Blitz, who I saw Hasselblad talking to today.
really hard to get out of. But
What started like raising red flags for me was when he was going after Blitz. Like,
What?
there is no way in hell I believe Blitz would do anything to harm anyone ever. I mean, he's a human being. I'm sure he makes mistakes, but the way Blitz carries himself, I have zero confidence in that. And then his
zero confidence in what I've said about Blitz. That sounds like a man defending Blitz. But let's continue.
It's a Blitz, like the zero confidence in that. And then his screenshots of Blitz, like the first screenshots he ever showed in like his whole video that he used as evidence was Blitz saying,
if the screen is weird, can I get someone to volunteer to pop up for 1 second so I can adjust this? Just pop up. It's weird, but I need someone in the box in order to fix the screen. It's really frustrating. I hate this. Thank you. I will. Oh, wow. Real quick. Were you guys in request this entire time?
No, I just requested when you asked, like.
Oh, thank you kindly. All right. Yeah, it's really annoying. So for some reason, it's some glitch. I have updated, but I need someone in the box for me to flip them to main screen for me to be able to change the layout. So I don't know. I know you get to see more like this, but this is probably too much. Is it like that? Yeah, that's probably too much.
Yeah, the comments are covering up like some of the.
Yeah, all right. So let me go back to the regular way. Thank you. And if I do this. Okay, now it should be fine, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Atlantic. I'll drop you back down. And again, I want to reiterate, this has nothing to do with Haley. This has to do with Blitz being a liar and how insecure men react when they're called out on being a liar.
Zero confidence in that. And then his screenshots of Blitz, like the first screenshots he ever showed in like his whole video that he used as evidence was Blitz saying, hey, yeah, Peterson should have modded this better. Peterson should have changed how he was handling this. So Blitz agreeing like, hey, Peterson should have changed stuff. But then Irish later goes after Blitz and like
I went after Blitz?
saying terrible things. So after a while, Blitz starts saying things back to him too.
I just want to be super clear. He is literally saying the exact opposite of what happened. Blitz spent weeks defaming my name, and then I responded. Let's go back.
Was Blitz saying, hey, yeah, Peterson should have modded this better. Peterson should have changed how he was handling this. So Blitz agreeing like, hey, Peterson should have changed stuff. But then Irish later goes after Blitz and like just starts saying terrible things. So after a while, Blitz starts saying things back to him too.
That's a lie.
And what was weird to me is the evidence of this happening wasn't.
Notice he's about to criticize my evidence because I had to go into Discord. This is a really weird thing.
What was weird to me is the evidence of this happening wasn't like in that video. It's like later. And he makes it seem like, oh, Blitz has been saying these things all along. But when he was showing it live the one day, he had to log in and go to his DMs and show like, look, Blitz is saying all of this terrible stuff about me too. And it's like, well, no shit, you're saying terrible stuff about him. Like, of course he's going like.
Let's remember this. He just said that Blitz found out I was saying bad things about him, right? So the opposite happened. But let's also remember what Josh just said. that if someone hears you saying bad things about them, it's understandable for them to say bad things back. Let's say that again. He's saying that if someone says bad things about you, well, of course you're going to say something bad back. Well, isn't it weird that when you call me a liar, but I call you sus, you have a man tantrum?
Blitz has been saying these things all along. But when he was showing it live the one day, he had to log in and go to his DMs and show, like, look, Blitz is saying all of this terrible stuff about me too. And it's like, well, no shit, you're saying terrible stuff about him. Like, of course he's going, like, it gets annoying after a while and he's going to retaliate. You haven't shown
Please do
the
this,
darn
August.
thing that Blitz has done wrong.
What are you meant to do with that? What are you meant to do with people who have no at all respect for honesty? This man literally said he never said anything about trusting my evidence. I only ever talked about the tactics. And he's upset I called him sus when he said this.
Side by side, at the very least. He has, like, he has flat out lied.
Oh, the irony! The irony that what is wrong with the Glober community? What is wrong with the Glober community? I'm at a loss as to how horrible all these people have been.
He has, like, he has flat out lied.
Now, I know no one will remember this, right? But yesterday, Hasselblad insisted over and over again, the only thing he's ever commented on was not my integrity, was not my character. It was the tactics. And do you remember that at some point I finally was gaslit enough where I was like, you know what? I am sorry. I said, if all you've talked about was the tactics, I literally apologized to the man and said, if all you've talked about is the tactics, I apologize. I thought you had cast aspersions on who I was. Maybe I misunderstood it. I apologize. When you talk about integrity, do you think for one flying second that Hasselblad would join my live and apologize for him lying, intentionally lying about what he's been saying to me, and then saying in front of 300 people that I'm the one with the problem? Like, do you think for a second this man has the integrity and strength of character to do that? Of course he wouldn't. Yet these are the guys who people over in the science community say are the good guys. Look, I don't know what you prioritize as a person. I don't know what matters to people, right? I curse. I shout. I have anger. I have emotion. I don't think I directed on the wrong people. Oh, Harper, it was something. This little hassle bitch guy decided to prioritize his fifis and get all upset on a live with Vogue. And he claimed that I had been suggesting that he was a Petritio, which was just a lie. We've never, ever, 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 ever said that Peterson was a Petritio or that Blitz was a Petritio. And at this point, paleo wasn't even a thing that was my main focus at that point. And so he was suggesting to people that I was calling him a Petritio because what I had actually said was, this guy's fucking sus. I might have to start looking at this guy. And it was kind of said like flippantly, like as in, if this guy keeps doing what he's doing, then that's like really, really extra weird. That would absolutely get my attention. I don't think that's an inappropriate thing to say whatsoever. And ultimately what ended up happening was on that live, he was basically telling people that all I do is that when people question the evidence or question my tactics, that I will immediately go after them for no reason whatsoever. He told people that if people don't fall in line with Irish immediately, that they will just, that Irish will just irrationally attack them and will just go after them for no reason and will just sort of like do anything to like, I don't know, shut down dissent. Everyone has to fall into line. And I joined a live and I said, hang on, that's not what happened. This man Hasselblad, he didn't say he didn't like my tactics. He didn't say he didn't like me shouting. I don't care about that. I remembered that he had cast aspersions on the quality of the evidence. I remembered that he had defended some of the people. Blitz was one of them, I remember. And he had defended, or pardon me, and he had said things about me being untrustworthy, that people shouldn't trust me. And I thought he had said I had lied, but I really couldn't remember quite. And on the live last night, he made me think that I was crazy. He gaslit me and made me believe that none of that had happened and that maybe I'd misremembered it. And so I apologized to him on the live with 300 people saying, you know what, I'm sorry. If you had only attacked my tactics, I would never go after someone. So that's inappropriate. I apologize. That's not what I meant. And then as he kept talking, he literally said, all I've ever done is said that you are, that I don't trust, that I don't like your tactics. And I don't think you're interested in the truth. And when he said that, I was like, hold on. You just said a minute ago that you didn't attack my character. You didn't attack my integrity. You didn't attack my truthfulness. But you just said that you don't think I'm someone who's interested in the truth when I investigate people. And he and all these guys up there, I don't know, like, if they were just stupid, because there are a lot of stupid guys in the Glober community. A lot of wannabe stupid scientists in the Glober community. And so I don't know if the guys were just all stupid, but they just kept saying that what Hasselblad was suggesting was that I have bias. And that's not what that's suggesting. When you say to someone that that you're not interested, that you are not interested in the truth, what that's saying is that you can't trust anything that person says. And the fact that they were making it sound like it was just a regular, I don't know, discrepancy in terms of bias was just crazy to me. Absolutely crazy to me. So then I started pushing back again, being like, dude, you just said I'm not interested in the truth. And at first, I think they started to defend it by saying, well, that just means bias. And then they started to deny they ever said that they're not interested in the truth. And when he started to deny that he had said, I'm not interested in the truth, that's when I started realizing this is a gaslighting liar. And so at that point, I started turning back up the heat again. And then when he said, when do I get to be a victim? I was just like, what on earth? Why would you want to be a victim? And so, yeah, Hasselblad, you are sus. That doesn't mean you're a Petritio, my guy. That doesn't mean that you like minors. That's not what that means. It means you're an untrustworthy person. You are a liar. You are a manipulator, and you are a gaslighter, and you are a professional victim, and you are a whiny bitch. I don't complain about people who just talk shit. There's a whole bunch of people over at Vogue right now calling me shit. I don't care about that kind of stuff. Okay. What Egg just said, like, I don't want to be misquoted, right? But what Egg just said is, it is weird why he was getting so defensive. He was inventing allegations that weren't there. That is weird. Like, I'm not saying he's a Petritio. I'm really not. But why was he so insistent on saying he's not a Petritio? Nobody was calling him a Petritio. My God, I just don't understand what it was. Yeah, tough. At this point, like, it disappoints me a lot, is what it comes down to. Despite my reputation, I don't like to make enemies and stuff. I really don't. But like that live last night was not well moderated. It was not. And I fully understand that Vogue is not a professional, moderator. I fully understand. Vogue was not expecting that live. I fully understand that this isn't something that was, that did kind of come out of nowhere. I understand all that. So I'm not saying that he individually should have been better, more so that needed. Oh, shoot. Hang on. Okay. More so that live needed a better moderator. The moderation was just like horrible. And it really, really did lead to a lot of, I don't know, unnecessary reinforcement of his nonsense beliefs, a lot of unnecessary shouting that wasn't required, and then a lot of unnecessary men, sharing their opinion on shit they didn't know anything about. And so the moderation was bad. And it really did lead to a lot of the confusion and escalation that shouldn't have happened at all. Yeah, well, on that, Russ, I got loads of issues with you, right? But I am going to play this just to prove Hasselblad is a liar. Again, for anyone entering, as a reminder, Hasselblad last night said he was upset that I called him sus. And the reason I called him sus was that in my memory, he had been casting aspersions on the evidence, he had been defending Blitz, and he had said that I was untrustworthy. And when I said that to Hasselblad last night, he said that never happened. He said the only thing that happened was that he talked about my tactics. So me, being a psycho, spent all of last night going through my multiple receipts. And what do you know what I found?
He has, he has flat out lied about some people that, I'm not going to go into that. But
well, let's not go into it, but let's replay it, shall we? Hassle liar, you hassle bitch.
He has, he has flat out lied about some people that, I'm not going to go into that. But he's claimed that. He's claimed that he.
Oh, sorry.
I'm so sad he got interrupted. I'm so sad he got interrupted there. But I'll let it play just so you know they're definitely talking about me.
He has, he has flat out lied about some people that, I'm not going to go into that. But he's claimed that. He's claimed that he.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
So
I was
sad.
gonna say the problem I see is that I think.
So, the past few days has been a lot of, to put it clearly, a lot of white dudes.
I didn't mean to join. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem, man. The past 2 days have been a lot of white dudes trying to gaslight the hell out of me and tell me that I'm wrong over and over and over and over again. And I really, 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 really have been very close to being gaslit. And Overwatch, this is not to minimize all the other people who support me whatsoever, but it was very nice that Overwatch, who is someone who's not like as familiar with this group, but is a dude, a new person to sort of what's going on, that he had like sort of validated that they were gaslighting last night, because it made me realize, from a third party perspective, that something was off. And so it did sort of push me to look into this a lot more and find out that he was, in fact, calling me a liar. Now, I've got more video where he defends Blitz and says Blitz would never do this because, quote unquote, he's not that kind of guy.
Yeah, I call bullshit. I mean, after just watching that right there, all it does is show that you were going around talking trash and you can't take accountability for your own actions, your own words. And I mean, that whole live yesterday, all I kept hearing was him changing what he said and then being defended on the fact that he changed his statement like 3-4 times in that one live.
Yeah, because that was what happened, wasn't it? He said it, and then he did seem to own it and then say that that's just bias. I think he did own that he said it at first, and then he started saying he never said it, I think, is how it went.
It was interesting to listen to because he repeated the same statement, but he changed the words in the statement and how they took place to try to excuse what he was actually stating. And it's like, look, I don't care how you put it. When you say someone is not interested in truth and bias, you are calling them a liar. And I mean,
And when
obviously in that video, he just confirmed it, that he has been saying it.
and the thing that upsets me is that I'm viewed, and everyone over at Vogue's is saying I'm the crazy person. And it's like I have tried to be the mature person the entire time, because after that happened, I sent him this. If you have an issue or question regarding the evidence I have presented Ari Peterson or Blitz, perhaps reach out to me directly. Otherwise, if you're going to publicly comment on how I do things, perhaps explain to me how it's not appropriate for me to publicly comment on your inaction as it pertains to Peterson and to a lesser extent Blitz. Moreover, don't mischaracterize what happened with the other Glober friend. He joined a live anger and irate, so don't try to rewrite the history on that. I think that's perfectly reasonable, and he just kept ignoring my messages, which he did admit last night that he kept ignoring them. So this to me is like a little man bitch who just allowed this to escalate and got his fifis hurt and just wasn't mature enough to deal with it. I'm blown away, frankly, by how that went last night.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you at all. I mean, I messaged you on your account, you know, and I dealt with similar. About a year and a half ago, there was an individual on a late night live where there was a child that kept coming on the screen. They said some things that I ended up involving Homeland, and the kid's safe now. But I had people doing the same type of thing. People didn't like what I said, didn't like that I was calling it out, and, you know, called me a liar, called me a piece of shit. Reality is now that kid's safe and is no longer with the woman that was putting him in dangerous situations. So
I think that people are terrified of people peeking in their closets, which I understand because we all have messed up. Like, there's no question that if you shine a light at anyone, they could look bad. And so I feel like when we call out bad people, folk just get really scared that they're going to be next or something.
no, you're not wrong. And I mean, that's why I've owned my past. You know what I mean? I went to prison at 17, was in the newspaper down southwest for some shit that was not good. You know, had a lot of anger issues when I was younger and a lot of trauma. But I've owned it. Like, I've on this platform, I've told people what my past was, and some people were comfortable with it, some people weren't. So,
Dude, feel free to share. I'm totally curious.
so right now, like, I do a lot of advocacy, right? My wife and I own a nonprofit that helps DV survivors, human trafficking survivors, kids with special needs. We advocate for Indigenous very heavily. But when I was younger, I was, lack of a better term, indoctrinated into WS ideology.
Yep.
Which led me to be in the newspaper holding up a schmatzy flag in New Mexico. And then eventually I went to prison for 5 years, sentenced at 17 as an adult. And, you know, when I got out, I had to do a lot of work, right? A lot of work.
17's a rough age to go to prison.
So it took, I'd say, till my oldest daughter was born not long after I went to prison, but my son, when I was 25, he was born, and I put a lot of work into setting aside my violent temperament and the issues I had, and, you know, did a lot of talking to where now I actually do outreach to people in prison that are kind of in the same situation, and help them deconstruct some of the harmful ideology that gets pushed onto young men. And, you know, part of the issue was I'm Chicano, right? I half Mexican, half white. And because I'm so light skinned, my own Chicano community would give me shit. And then when the white tea community figured out I was Mexican, they would give me shit. Right. So I basically at a young age was like, I don't belong anywhere. And older gentlemen that saw me as a YT person took advantage of that issue and trauma and indoctrinated and basically did what they do very, very well. And it led me down a pretty bad path for a while.
What you were suggesting that it was your kid that changed your mind, or? And by the way, Wasabi, when you say check Discord, like, I'm checking live chat, I'm not seeing anything. What was it exactly that was it your child that made you start becoming more empathetic or something?
The
Or
fact that because I wasn't involved in my daughter's life, because I was not in a place to be a good father or a good role model, when my son, when I found out I was having a son, I decided that it was kind of like a second chance to try to be a good father, be a good role model, and do better as a human. So I did a lot of work to put a lot of issues aside.
Yes.
got it. Well, I mean, I'm a big fan of people who are able to turn their lives around. I think that, it's kind of hard to hold anyone culpable for the stuff they do when they're younger. I feel like how does you evolve and how does you change and how does you demonstrate that is really what kind of matters. Personally, I feel as though, frankly, it's a good thing to be able to share that kind of side of a person with people
Yeah,
in
and
order
I
to
mean
show
it's
that people are
interesting,
able to redeem themselves.
when I was seven or eight, was the first time I saw a SWAT team raid my mother's house. When I was 12, it happened again, and I had to explain to my little brother to keep him from freaking out that it was just a prank for his birthday party, and that's why police were there. Saw a lot of violence growing up, all the way around. Growing up in not only biker culture but Chicano culture, there was an interesting dichotomy there, right? And it was bad, man. Like it was bad. Like my wife, when we went to my mom's memorial, because she passed end of 2022. Yeah, end of 2022, my mom passed, and she went with me to the memorial. And my little brother was basically, because I told her all this, she knows everything about me. And my little brother was asking me to just kind of clarify. He was like, "Did this actually happen? Did this happen?" I was like, "Yeah, that happened and that happened." And we kind of had to work through stuff as brothers of what he witnessed when he was younger, because I wasn't always with my mom, right? I was with my dad too. So he kind of got the brunt of the DV issues that were part of that, and a lot of the um, criminal aspect that happened around my mom and stepdad. My mom is a fantastic person, but she was in a bad spot herself. And it just kind of got out of hand. So it was healing for him and I to be able to have these talks, older brother to younger brother. And, he himself,
Yeah, getting
actually is a
validation later on,
psychologist
even
for
for
kids.
recognizing the harm, I think is actually a big thing that helps to heal.
Yeah, yeah. And he actually professionally is a psychologist for children. So he helps now kids that are dealing with the same type of stuff that we did, to work through it, and then we're on the other end of things. I do a lot of advocacy, a ton of it, pushing legislation, helping out how I can, when I can, and have been an owner of nonprofit for 2 years now,
That's
3 years.
awesome.
So
That's an awesome turnaround, my man. But I'm glad you're able to empathize with the pushback. It's kind of wild to be trying to do the right thing and have people say no, like really, really, really weird.
that, and they were silencing the people that, the women that dealt with it firsthand, which is where I was getting really upset, because it was like, you guys are just dismissing and invalidating the experience that they dealt with through all this, while Irish is up here trying to champion and lift their voices, and you guys are basically telling them to shut up and letting them be called a liar.
Not only that, they is Nutka here? I hope not. All right, Nutka called. That Master Blue, I think his name was, said something about Nutka being like an asshole or something. Which was just sort of like, it's just the centering of these guys' feelings is like so fucking crazy to me. Like, I don't like people speaking bad on my name and all that, but like, also in the context of like real stuff going on, like, I just don't understand why people can't take a step back and realize there's bigger issues, if that makes sense. And everyone seems to be acting like the biggest issue is themselves, and it's a little frustrating, frankly.
I just want to say
What's up,
something.
Kaz?
Hey, how you doing, Irish? Uh, so the whole thing that I really found kind of weird about the whole Hasselblad situation, was kind of the demonization that I felt that was going towards you, especially like even when Vogue had admitted that Hasselblad most likely didn't even know the situation, right? And people want to be like this, oh, this person is doing something bad off of a first look, and don't care about the repercussions of saying that, right? Because what he did was he invalidated what you were saying. That was clear. But for some reason, everybody on that panel was taking his side when what he was doing in turn was making bad people look better.
Yeah, I mean, not just look better. Were you here when I showed the evidence I found?
For Hasselbeck?
Yeah.
No, I was not.
Oh, as a reminder to anyone who was here before, reminder, the whole thing last night was that I had pointed out that Hasselblad
After
had
hours, however,
been
because
basically going around disparaging the evidence. And I thought he'd been saying that I was untrustworthy and that he had been defending Blitz. And last night he said none of that happened. And instead, he said he was only questioning my tactics. And this is just how Irish treats people when he questions tactics. So I decided to spend last night looking into stuff. And I'll just play the very quick, the boom part, because I do know I show way too much evidence. So this is the boom part.
he has he has flat out lied about some people that
There you have it.
I'm not going to go into that, but
And let me go back where he talks about the suggestion that I'm manipulating
back and forth because there's
screenshots.
definite evidence of
Inappropriate stuff.
there's evidence of inappropriate stuff. There's also evidence of the entirety of it not being as solid as he's making it, and he's taking screenshots from like days apart and then putting them side by side at the very least. He has he has flat out lied about some people that I'm not going to go into that, but he's claimed that he.
Oh, sorry.
So sad he got cut off.
I was going to say the problem I see is that I think because Irish is pretty, he does, if he does something, he's going to follow through with it and he's going to go until, and I think Peterson's kind of the same. And I think that it's kind of like two guys that really don't like each other are going to see this through. And it's just, oh my God, I mean, I don't really like Peterson anyway, so I don't really care. And I've seen some of the receipts and I'm like, oh, that is really crunchy. That is really hard to get out of. But
what started raising red flags for me was when he was going after Blitz. There is no way in hell I believe Blitz would do anything to harm anyone ever. I mean, he's a human being. I'm sure he makes mistakes, but the way Blitz carries himself, I have zero confidence in that. And then his screenshots of Blitz, the first screenshots he ever showed in his whole video that he used as evidence was Blitz saying, "Hey, yeah, Peterson should have modded this better. Peterson should have changed how he was handling this." So Blitz agreeing hey, Peterson should have changed stuff. But then Irish later goes after Blitz and just starts saying terrible things. So after a while, Blitz starts saying things back to him too.
The exact opposite happened.
And what was weird to me is the evidence of this happening wasn't in that video. It's later. And he makes it seem Blitz has been saying these things all along.
He was.
But when he was showing it live the one day, he had to log in and go to his DMs and show look, Blitz is saying all of this terrible stuff about me too. And it's like, well, no shit, you're saying terrible stuff about him. Like, of course he's going, like, it gets annoying after a while and he's going to retaliate. You haven't shown a darn thing that Blitz has done wrong.
So this was 2 months ago. Just for clarity, this was 2 months ago. This was not last night. Kaz, what is your independent evaluation?
So one, he just blatantly bold-faced lied yesterday about everything he was saying. And then two, even on this is like the epitome of I'm going to protect someone blindly without knowing the actual evidence.
100%.
Because we even like you've shown it and it's been out there about how even if right you were the first one to go after Blitz, right, that does not make it okay for Blitz to bold-facedly lie about you doing stuff surrounded with minors, right? That does not equate to doing that at all. So even still, when he's saying, "Oh, Blitz didn't do anything bad," that's a lie.
Yeah, Blitz literally went around telling people that I'd masturbated to minors. Like, what the flying fuck? He literally said that I had been engaged in revenge porn. He had literally told people that I was a liar. He literally told people that the evidence against Peterson was wrong and it was misleading. He'd done all those things. And again, I've never called Blitz a pedo. I've never called Blitz any of those things. I've called him a bitch. I haven't lied about him. I've characterized him. I never said he masturbated to minors. I said he's a bitch. So, like, the idea that these little insecure men bitches have a problem with being called what they are is wild to me. No need to tap the screen. I think I'm actually going over to Vogue's and I'm going to play this and I'm going to watch them make excuses. And then I'm going to go live again. So that's what I'm going to go do. So, go ahead.
I was about to say, because if they're actually like reasonable people, they won't, try to excuse this. But if they're not, they'll make excuses about this in any way that they can, because it's clear that yesterday he just bold-facedly lied about his intentions and everything that he was saying.
I mean, Kaz, you sound like a great advocate. Feel free if you want to join in order to make that point, because honestly, I was gaslit. Like, I literally apologized to the guy last night. All right, I'm going to end the live. I'm going to pop over there and then I'm going to go live again. Appreciate you two popping over. I'll be live on Vogue in 20 seconds.